Look up at the night sky. Go ahead, find a window. Even through the light pollution of a city, you can probably see a few pinpricks of light. The moon, a planet, a handful of the brightest stars. For thousands of generations, our ancestors have done the same. They saw patterns in those lights, told stories about them, built entire civilizations around their clockwork motions. They saw the cosmos, and in it, they saw a reflection of themselves. But what if they weren't the only ones looking? What if, standing on a nearby hill, another kind of human, with a different mind and different eyes, was staring up at that very same sky, but seeing something entirely different? This isn't a fantasy. For over 300,000 years, we shared this planet. We were not alone. They were the Neanderthals. And their extinction around 40,000 years ago may be the single most important event in our species' history, not just for our dominion over Earth, but for our entire relationship with the universe. We think of our journey to the stars as a uniquely asterisk Homo sapiens story. But what if it wasn't supposed to be? The greatest mystery of the cosmos might not be out there in the void, but right here, in the ghost of a lost humanity, and how their survival would have changed not just our world, but our entire perception of reality, potentially even solving the dreadful, silent emptiness of the universe. To understand the profound cosmic implications of a world with two human species, we must first look not to the stars, but into the skull of our closest extinct relative. The typical image of a Neanderthal is brutish, slow, a clumsy evolutionary dead end. This is a caricature painted by the victors, us. The reality is far more compelling. Their brain was, on average, slightly larger than our own. Their bodies were stockier, more powerful, and exquisitely adapted to the harsh climates of Ice Age Europe. But the most tantalizing difference, the one that opens the door to our cosmic question, lies in their eyes. Fossilized skulls show us that Neanderthals possessed enormous eye sockets, significantly larger than those of contemporary Homo sapiens. Paleoanthropologists like Eilund Pierce at the University of Oxford have argued this wasn't just a cosmetic quirk. These larger orbits housed larger eyes, specifically, larger retinas. Much like a camera with a bigger sensor, larger eyes can gather more light. This suggests Neanderthals had superior vision in the dim, twilight conditions of Ice Age Europe, an incredible advantage for hunting at dawn and dusk. But think about what else happens at dusk. The stars come out. A modern human, away from all light pollution, can see about 2,500 stars with the naked eye. We see the Milky Way as a faint, ethereal cloud. We can just barely make out the Andromeda galaxy as a tiny, fuzzy smudge. But a Neanderthal, with eyes potentially far more sensitive to low light, their view would have been spectacular. The Milky Way wouldn't be a wash of light. It might have resolved into a shimmering, granular river of countless individual stars. Fainter constellations, invisible to us, would have been part of their celestial lexicon. And what about planets? Uranus is technically visible to a sharp-eyed Homo sapiens under perfect conditions. But it's so faint and slow-moving that it wasn't identified as a planet until William Herschel used a telescope in 1781. Could a Neanderthal have seen it clearly enough to track its movement against the background stars thousands of years before us? The implications are staggering. Consider Galileo. In 1610, he pointed his rudimentary telescope at Jupiter and saw 4 tiny points of light orbiting it. This discovery shattered the geocentric model of the universe. It proved that everything did not revolve around the Earth. It was a philosophical and scientific revolution. But what if it wasn't a revolution? What if it was common knowledge? The 4 Galilean moons are, under exceptionally rare conditions, technically visible to the naked eye. It's an almost impossible feat for sapiens vision, but for the light-gathering power of a Neanderthal eye, it moves from the realm of impossibility to plausibility. Imagine a world where, for tens of thousands of years, 2 species of humans looked up, and one saw a simple bright wanderer, while the other saw a planet with its own family of moons. The very foundation of their cosmology, their place in the universe, would be fundamentally different from ours. We saw ourselves at the center of everything. Perhaps they, with their clearer vision, never labored under that delusion. Their gods, their myths, their understanding of the cosmos would have been built on a truth that we needed technology to even glimpse. Our entire scientific trajectory was kickstarted by discovering we weren't the center of the universe. For Neanderthals, that might have been day one. Beyond the sheer mechanics of vision lies the far deeper and more consequential mystery of the Neanderthal mind. What was it like to think like a Neanderthal? Here we move from physiology to the ghost in the machine. While we can't read a fossilized mind, we have clues. They created tools using the complex Levallois technique, a method that requires foresight and abstract thought. They controlled fire, buried their dead with ceremony, and even created art. The cave paintings at La Pasiega in Spain predate the arrival of asterisk Homo sapiens in the region, suggesting they were the work of Neanderthal artists. This was not a mindless brute. This was a different kind of intelligence. Cognitive scientists and archaeologists like Dr. Penny Spickens suggest that while we Homo sapiens excelled at large-scale social networking and long-distance trade, our brains seemingly wired for it, Neanderthal cognition might have been different. Perhaps it was more focused, more present tense, more attuned to the immediate environment and the cyclical rhythms of nature. This cognitive divergence would have had a monumental impact on how they approached science and the cosmos. Our own scientific revolution was built on a very specific type of thinking. The development of abstract mathematics, the deconstruction of the whole into its component parts, a linear sense of cause and effect. It led us to Newton's laws, to Einstein's relativity, to quantum mechanics. But is that the only way to understand the universe? What if a Neanderthal scientific tradition developed not from abstract mathematics, but from a more holistic, pattern-based understanding? Their superior observational skills of the night sky, combined with a mind that thought in cycles rather than straight lines, could have led to a profound and deeply predictive understanding of celestial mechanics, but one expressed in a language we might not even recognize as science. They might have developed a form of orbital mechanics that looked more like music or a tapestry than a set of equations. They might have understood gravity not as a force, but as an inherent property of a cosmic rhythm. Think about the challenges we face in physics today. The maddening incompatibility between general relativity and quantum mechanics. The mystery of dark matter and dark energy. We are banging our heads against these walls using the same cognitive toolkit that has served us for 400 years. What if the Neanderthal mind, with its different wiring, held a key? Perhaps their way of thinking was uniquely suited to understanding wave-particle duality or the interconnectedness of spacetime. Their survival would have meant a second data point for intelligence itself. We only have one example of a technologically capable species, us. We assume our path, agriculture, cities, writing, abstract math, digital computers, is the only one. A surviving Neanderthal civilization would prove that wrong. They might have achieved a deep understanding of biology and genetics long before we did, given their intimate connection with the natural world. Their technology might have been based on organic chemistry and biological engineering rather than metallurgy and electronics. And when they turned that unique cognitive toolkit towards the stars, they wouldn't have just been seeing a different sky. They would have been asking entirely different questions about it. The existence of a second intelligent species on Earth throws into sharp relief one of the most terrifying questions in all of science, the Fermi paradox. The universe is vast and old.